So we got Florida, Gainesville, Florida on Instagram.
Florida.
Yes, all right, cool. You can hear us now. So I was saying, where are you from? And is this your first time here on our live call? For those of you who are on Zoom, let us know in the chat, where are you tuning in from? And is this your first time? Today, we're going to talk about how to book jobs at companies like Target, Old Navy, Gap, big corporations like that. Because I did a poll recently on in the broadcast channel. Well, I asked a question really, and it's funny because that was like one of the most highest engaging questions that I asked in the broadcast channel. I just said, who would want to do a photo shoot at Target or Old Navy? There's an overwhelming response. Multiple people's like, yes, me. I want to do it. I want to do it. So we're going to do a breakdown today. And fortunately, we have close relationships with agency scouts and supermodels and celebrity photographers and people like that. So we have a lot of insight on those things. And Fatima, she's been, if you've been following her page, she's been doing a lot of agency research and understanding how they work, the ins and outs, the pros and cons, the ups and downs, and going through a little bit of that yourself if you want to give them some insight. Like, no, about just agencies in general.
Oh, agencies in general, yeah. So there's actually a lot of information that a lot of models don't know starting out. And I've made it my mission to learn all of that information and then feed it to my followers and my supporters, like in easy to understand terms, if that makes sense, because all of the information is out there, but it's sporadic and it's almost kind of hidden, and we really don't know about it. It's hard to find those sort of things. So definitely wanted to compile all of that in one place. As far as agencies go, we are learning actually slowly, bit by bit, that there's a lot more to agencies than what we previously thought.
More than meets the naked eye.
Yeah.
More questions that you should ask.
Yeah.
And sometimes you wouldn't even think to ask that because it's like, why should I have to ask you that? It's like certain agencies should have things set in place. And if you have to ask certain questions, or if you feel like you have to ask certain questions, I feel like then it causes a little bit of distrust with you and that agency. But still, regardless, important things that you should know about agencies and what steps you need to take or measures that you may want to double check before you end up signing that contract. All right, so I see Pageant Queen on here. Rochelle, what's going on?
We're on with 2 different Instagram lives today and a Zoom call. So
yes, we're live on 2 Instagrams and Zoom. So we're like triple live right now. Sometimes we go quadruple.
Yeah, sometimes we have a third page up there.
Eventually we'll be streaming this directly to YouTube as well. So that would be fun. We'll have like 6 cameras.
Oh my God, so intimidating.
But yeah, let us know where you're tuning in from. Again, let's see, on Zoom, I don't want to butcher your name, Dangerfield. I'm just going to go with the last name, Miss Dangerfield. Let us know where are you tuning in from as well. So Target, Old Navy, Gap, Banana Republic.
First of all, let's talk about who is getting these clients. Who is getting these clients? Who do these clients work with directly? Like what kind of agencies?
Right, because we already stated that there's more to agencies than someone may realize.
Right.
There's multiple different types of agencies. And you cannot get those jobs working for those companies that's high on your priority list. Again, I asked the question, multiple people say, yes, I want that opportunity. You can't get that opportunity if you're not with the right agency.
Right.
So let's go into that first. What are the different types of agencies? And which ones would provide opportunities like working for Target?
Okay, so the different types of agencies, you have 3 main types: mother agency, talent agency, and modeling agency. And then you have like a boutique agency, which is a modeling agency, but on a smaller scale. And they just basically work with very specific clientele and a very specific niche of modeling. So if you are only commercial or the boutique only does commercial, they'll only work with store brands and that's it, storefront brands and that's it. They won't work for anybody else or do anything else. And then
Okay.
you have your management teams or your managers. And boutique and management teams is actually something that we're fresh learning as well, because we didn't think
Right.
much about that.
Boutiques are smaller agencies, management. So you probably, all of you are probably following agencies on social media
Mhm.
and you're seeing like, oh, this agency, that agency, but then you see some that say model management and then some say boutique agency,
Mhm.
some say mother agency. You're like, I don't even know the difference.
Right.
To me, it's all agency. I'm just going to submit my
Don't
application.
y'all just get us jobs? Like, why there's so many different, which they do, but different kinds of jobs. So that leads right into who gets the clients that we're referring to, which is your Targets, your Old Navies, your Walmarts, those sort of things. And primarily, talent agencies, surprisingly, will be the ones booking those jobs for their models. And that's because talent agencies have a huge market for commercial.
Commercial
Mhm.
modeling. So
Mhm.
that's the key right there too. You're not doing campaigns for those big companies that we mentioned if you're not a commercial model.
Right.
So a lot of models, I have conversations, they say, I want to be on the runway, I want to do editorial, I want to do high fashion,
Mhm.
I want, all the glitz and the glam,
Mhm.
but none of those jobs, none of those types of modeling is going to get you jobs working for these big corporations.
Mhm.
So
Exactly.
you have to make a decision. Do you want to be a fashion model or do you want to be a commercial model? And there's pros and cons, right? Like you can give and take. I think it comes down to personal preference,
Personal preference, lifestyle, that sort of thing. Yeah.
lifestyle, how much you want to get paid.
Why are you doing it for? Right.
So obviously the pay structure is going to
Mhm.
be different as well.
Yeah, like drastically different. It's actually surprising too, because most people go into modeling, they think high fashion runway, that's where it's at. But in the words of Luciera, if you want to be famous, do high fashion. If you want to get paid, do commercial.
Exactly.
So definitely
So
a big
why you in the
difference.
game? Why you in
Big
the game? You
difference.
want everybody to know who you are, know your name. You want to walk down that runway, all attention on you, and that can feel very empowering.
Mhm.
Nothing wrong with that. But those models, as much attention as they get, don't always receive as big of a check. It's a little bit far and few in between. It's hard to get paid for fashion shows, even on a high level. I was actually talking with Blake
Mhm.
just yesterday. He was messaging each other on Instagram, and he was reminding me that even those big models that you see on the cover of Vogue magazine,
Mhm.
they don't get paid to be on the cover of Vogue.
Mhm.
You do not get paid to be on the cover of Vogue as a model. And that's because the magazine is bigger than you.
Mhm.
Everybody wants to be on Vogue. They're high in demand. So
Mhm.
they're putting your face on their cover and it's all over the world. It's all over in magazine stands, at grocery stores. They have the distribution of
Mhm.
putting you out there in that way. And so because it's supply and demand, everybody wants that cover. And because of that, it's kind of like performing at the Super Bowl. Rihanna,
Mhm.
Usher, all these people, Kendrick Lamar, they don't get paid to perform at the Super Bowl because the Super Bowl has millions of eyeballs watching your show, looking at your image, right? If you're the magazine. So because they're bigger than you, they don't pay you for that opportunity, but it is an opportunity still because once you can say, I've been on the cover of Vogue magazine, your career is going to take off. Every artist that you could think of that performs at the Super Bowl, what do they do right after that? They go on tour.
Go on
And
tour,
tickets just
drop
went through the
music,
roof.
yeah.
They
Mhm.
dropped a new album, they went on tour, they made their money, but
Mhm.
they didn't make it during that opportunity.
Mhm.
So if you want to be in this high
Right.
fashion world, you can maybe lead up to magazine opportunities like that. But again, your money's going to come somewhere else from doing that specific shoot's not gonna happen versus doing a commercial shoot. They're paying you for the fitting, they're paying you for the actual shoot time, and they may even be paying you residuals after the fact.
Or rights up front. So yeah, the rights to use your images or videos for the commercials.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So you've been getting opportunities
Mhm.
from your agency, Models Inc.
Yeah.
They send you castings and they tell you, for the most part, like upfront, like, hey,
Yeah.
this is how much this job pays.
Yeah.
This
Mhm.
is, if they use the footage or the photos, there's an additional fee
Right.
and so on.
A
So,
usage fee, yeah.
right. So break down like what are usage fees? Like how does the payment structure work?
So essentially, when you get a casting for a job, sometimes they'll list it, sometimes they won't. Typically when the casting is a private casting or somebody who wants sort of privacy with the job itself, which is typically like a higher brand. They want a little bit more confidentiality. They won't label or they won't put everything in the submission. But typically when you do get a submission, you'll see how much they pay you, which is your rate. And then they'll list whether or not they add the agency fee on top. Lucky for me, most of my jobs, they have added agency fees on top.
Right, so that's a big concern, right? So
Yeah.
I was like, well, I don't know if I want to get signed, because I might
Yeah.
get this job and they're gonna take 20% of my payment. But a lot of times company will
client,
offer you a
yeah.
payment
Mhm.
and then add the 20% on top.
Right, the
So you
client will
still
pay
get,
the agent, right,
right,
exactly.
okay,
So the client will pay the agent on top of what they pay you oftentimes, not always, but sometimes if they're nice. And then they'll list out if there's travel stipends or if there's hotel accommodations, if you're traveling further than a couple miles radius or whatever. And then after that, it's usage or residuals depending on what the project is. I got a casting for a commercial and I wasn't going to get residuals unless I was in like the forefront of the video for longer than 5 seconds. And my face had to be clear and recognizable. And that was like the guidelines in order for me to get residuals. So if I was in that commercial and I was in the background, I would not get residuals for that commercial. So it's very specific. And then with photos, if they're using it on their brand website, you might get just a straight up just a payout just right away. They're like, we want to buy the rights to these images. Here's your money, and that's it. And then they own the images.
nice,
Mhm.
all right, so I know that was a lot.
That was a lot, sorry.
That was a lot, so let's do a temperature check. You guys understand what we're talking about here?
Y'all on the same page over here. It
You know,
says for
the pay
celebrities, yep.
structure of how agencies work. Let us
Mhm.
know if there's any questions around that, because that kind of goes, backtrack a little bit about the different types of
Yeah.
agencies
Mhm.
and the pay structure can, is there a difference between how one agency might have their contract versus another? So let's say, for example, you're with a boutique agency or a model management company, a mother agency versus a talent agency. Is the pay structure the same? Does it matter?
I think it's different. Well, first of all, every agency takes a different percentage. Any more than 20%, by the way, is a red flag, but every agency takes between 10 to 20% of your makings. And then there's different fees involved with being signed, website fees and such. But the contracts themselves, and this is real interesting when we get into like licensing and stuff for agencies, the contracts can be worked only by a licensed agency. So if you are, what is it, a management team or a manager, you do not have the proper agency licensing to negotiate any kind of contract on behalf of your talent. Versus mother agencies, modeling agencies, and talent agencies, they are licensed by the state that they work in to negotiate terms of contract. So for example, if you were a manager to me and you were like, here's this job, they just sent me a contract.
Okay.
And the contract said something that goes against my morals, but I didn't read into it because you're a manager, you told me to sign it, and I signed it. There was no way that he'd be able to negotiate the terms of that contract. It's either take it or leave it type of deal.
Yeah.
Versus if you're my agency manager and you have licensing, you will know that that goes against my morals and you would say, actually, my model doesn't do this. Can we negotiate that out of the contract or can we switch that for something that she is comfortable with doing? And as an agent, a licensed agent, you are legally able to do that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I was conversating today with a model scout,
Mhm.
and she actually said that because that a particular model recently had an opportunity with a contract,
Mhm.
and they have their agency, and they also have a manager.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that works in terms of exclusivity,
Mm.
but their manager, maybe that's just an agreement that that model have with some person that they trust. And the manager said, go ahead and sign that contract. Let's move forward on that. And the agency was saying, actually, don't sign that. We see some things that we don't think are right, or we can get adjusted or changed. And long story short, what they told me was because that model signed the contract listening to their manager, the agency no longer could negotiate the contract because it's already signed now. The manager could not negotiate the contract because they're a manager, not a licensed agency, right? And that resulted in the model missing out on $8,000.
That's insane.
$8,000 mistake that that manager made because they don't have the power that agencies have to negotiate contracts for something that maybe, because I don't know the full capacity of that situation. What probably happened from what I gather is that the contract is what it is.
Mhm.
The manager was like, yes, let's do that. That's a great deal. Go ahead and sign it. And the agency's like, wait, no. We know how these contracts work. You should be getting paid much more than what they're offering.
Mhm.
But because you listen to the manager instead of the agency, I was like, well, it's too late now. We can't do anything about it. So you should and desire an agency that believes in you, that you trust, because there's a mistrust issue there.
Yeah. Mhm.
If you have an agency and a manager, and you're like, I'm not going to listen to my agency for whatever reason, now that could be harmful for you in the long run. But $8,000,
That's wild. That's a big fumble of a bag.
yeah,
But it is important to know that what type of agency you're working with, because they all do different things. And that agency, the agency, what they're allowed to negotiate is the contract as a whole, plus whatever you're making, so they can negotiate the whole thing with the client. Versus the manager who's not licensed to negotiate contracts can only negotiate the amount that you'll get paid. And sometimes clients are just firm on the amount that you get paid, so the work that you have to do with the wording in the contract stays the same with the manager.
right.
Mhm.
Everybody on the same page as that as us right now? Let us know. Someone said, just call me Loney. Okay, I got you, Loney
Hey, Lon.
from Walnut Creek. This is a lot of information, but I understand. Thank you for sharing. Great advice. Awesome. Thank you for being here. So,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we'll have replays if you guys forget some of the information.
yeah, so this whole video will be viewable again on YouTube. You're probably watching this on YouTube right now if you're not watching us live.
Mhm.
And we'll be trying to upload these at least once a week. So you can always catch the replay on YouTube. Okay, so we've talked about contracts. We talked about some pay structure. We can go a little bit deeper on pay structure. I have some notes here that I brought up because with jobs like Target, for example,
Mhm.
they have their posters
Mhm.
that are inside the store.
Mhm.
They have television commercials. They have advertisements that like magazines that you flip through, where it's just like a plain white background that's showing what the outfit is.
Mhm.
So there's like different types of jobs you can get even within that one
Right.
company.
Mhm.
And so we'll break those down really quick. One of the types of jobs, like e-commerce, right? E-commerce website type photo shoots. So those are like I said, the plain white background, you're shopping online. and you're just, what does this outfit look like? Let me see the front, let me see the back. Does it have pockets, whatever? Those are the type of models that are doing e-commerce. So e-commerce websites or e-commerce models are getting paid somewhere between $500 to $1,500 per day. But that could be a long day.
It could be a long day. It could be 12 hours, could be 8 hours, could be 4 hours.
And it could be boring.
And yeah, could be boring.
It could be boring. Like they're literally like, okay, here's 10, 15 outfits. Put this on, take some shots, turn around, turn to the side. Okay, give me another pose. All right, let's get changed, put another outfit on. And you're just there all day, changing clothes and not doing anything like out of the box, really.
But it's rent. But it's rent.
You're getting your rent paid. You're walking out of there with maybe a few $1,000s just for one day of work. And you stood there for 8 hours. And then so even that, like as a model, you want these types of jobs. Do you have commercial style posing in your tool belt of poses? Can you pose like a e-commerce model? Because they're not doing, this and that and bending over and throwing their legs up. Like that's because sometimes it'd be a little bit more lifestyle. You get a little bit more freedom, but e-commerce is pretty straight up and down.
Yeah.
But they still have there's technique there. There's technique. It depends on the brand. Some of them, sometimes you see they're just like dolls. They're just like
standing
straight up and down.
Well, you don't really need much. People are shopping online. They don't care about the poses. They care about the outfit itself. What does the outfit entail? Like you said, pockets, colors, those sort of things, fabrics. They don't really care about what the model is doing. It's shopping for clothing. So.
Right. It's less about it's really not about the model at all.
At all. Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes they'll put a little bend in the hip or a slanted knee, hand in the pocket, but you have to know how to sell the clothing. All right. You're not selling your face. You're selling the clothing in that aspect. So how are you showcasing that outfit to the ability, so that the ability of the photographer can capture what they need to put this in an advertisement? Facial expression is going to be important there too. You wouldn't really think so because it's not like they're just there. It almost looks like they're just standing there.
Yeah.
But their facial expressions, their poses, they still give confidence. Right. So do you have that in your repertoire? Right. So print campaigns. That's where you see billboards, posters, magazines, higher end budget. They have a higher end budget because they're widely distributed. So like even like mailers, you get them in your box, and those are widely distributed. They have a bigger budget for that. So the pay range is going to be somewhere between $2,000 and $5,000 per day. That's not too bad.
That's not too bad at all.
You've done some e-commerce work.
Yeah.
For like Bello Legend
and Alala.
Yeah.
Funny enough, they were both like fitness outfits, but yeah.
Yeah. So did you find that? Was it fun? Was it boring? Was it kind of like just stand there? Because I feel like there's a little bit more to it than.
Well, Bello Legend, you actually got me that job, and it was actually in your studio and shot by you, so that was fun. It was more of a laid back structure, but Alala, is a larger company and brand, and so they had more of a team there, a makeup artist, hairstylist. They had an assistant, a camera, a videographer, and obviously the brand manager herself was there at the computer. So everything was real formal, but they made it fun. We took some videos. They told us to act airy and light and bubbly, and we had a part in the scene where we took a video and we just danced around for a minute. They actually used that in their commercial, so it was fun.
Yeah, you told me you can't dance.
It wasn't like I was like in there pop lock and dropping, and I was just like white girl rocking.
You might have to repost that. You have to repost that video. Someone says, what agency signs older short people on 4, 8, and 56 years old?
Yeah.
So
anybody can model.
Right.
Anybody can model. Your niche would be lifestyle commercial. And saying that because lifestyle commercial talent agencies are what you're going to look for, mother or talent agencies, is what you're going to look for. And that's because they place you with jobs that are looking for everyday average people. They don't have huge requirements, or I mean, strict requirements as far as physicalities go. So definitely talent and mother agencies.
Mhm. And there's actually a growing market for like older Black women and plus size models.
Mm,
This is a growing community that is becoming more desirable for agencies. So the opportunities are there.
Yeah.
You're going to want to be with a talent agency.
mhm.
Would you recommend like a mother?
I would recommend a mother agent for everybody, everybody. If you've never been signed before, if you're just getting started, mother agency is an agency that is, they're your mother basically. And if you think of a mother, you think of nurturing, you think of growth, you think of care. That is their role. Their role is to take you in and to build you up and then connect you with agencies, modeling agencies or talent agencies that are right for you. So they build your portfolio with you, they build your confidence with you and your skills, and then they send you off to talent agencies and modeling agencies.
Awesome.
Mhm.
I hope that answers your question there, pageant queen. All right, so fittings. Fittings is a job that you can book as a commercial model.
Mhm.
And obviously, so fitting is just making sure the outfit fits,
Fits,
you
right.
know, and before the shoot day. So even that, it's a whole nother day. Sometimes it could be the same day. A lot of times it's a fitting day and then you come back again for the shoot day. Some models can be just booked only for the fitting part.
Oh, so that's fit model.
Right.
That's a different niche. And that's what I thought you were talking about here. But fittings are like
That's
fittings.
after you get the job.
Fittings are for like any model, like you have to go for fittings for
Right.
the job. But fit model is very specific niche of modeling where if you have a very average measurement size, a very average body shape, in plus size, petite, child, adult, all that, men's and women's, they will take you and basically use you as a mannequin to make sure that their clothes fit the audience that they're selling to. And they're like, yep, it fits, or they'll be like, no, we need alterations here. And then after that, they'll make their changes and they'll put it on market in stores. So that is the fit model's role, is to, and so that I know that fit models have to keep very precise measurements.
Yeah.
Too. So if
So
you are,
changing.
yeah, if you're like a 34, 27, 40, you have to stay at 34, 27, 40 because that is what you are fitting for every time you get a job.
Yeah, so you are getting paid really essentially for your body.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of modeling, I could say probably all modeling is this, generally speaking. You have to have a certain body shape for the jobs that they're sending you. And so if you're changing your body shape, whether you're working out or you're gaining weight, etc., then obviously you're going to update your digitals, update your measurements, communicate that with your agency so that they know how to correctly place you for the opportunities that come up.
Right.
So she gave you a breakdown of what fit models are.
Oh, yeah.
But fittings,
Yeah.
right? Fittings is when you go to the studio or wherever the campaign is going to be held. Maybe it's somewhere different, and they make sure that the outfit is going to fit you and looks good on you before the actual shoot day. So it's similar to a fit model. They're making sure the outfit fits.
No, but that's specifically for you.
Right.
Fittings are for you. Fit modeling is for everybody in the world who is shaped like you.
Right. So just want to make sure everybody understands the clear difference between the two, a fit model and fittings when you go. So brands like these, they will hire models to test clothes and look and make sure that the jobs, I'm sorry, I'm gonna start now, I'm stuttering now. Brands like these often hire models for fittings to test how clothes look and move. These jobs are quick and straightforward and pay less than photo shoots or campaigns. Right. So that was the fit model definition. And as when you go into these fittings, rather you're a fit model or you're selected for that campaign, you still get paid by the hour or by the day, depending on the structure of that job, which you can make $200 to $500 per session.
Mhm.
So like you, and sometimes it can be difficult though, because if the fitting day is different than the shoot day, that means you gotta leave, you gotta come back. The actual shoot day could be days separate. than the
Yeah,
fitting.
yeah, that is one of the issues that you can run into, especially if you're traveling outside of your city or outside of your state. That could be an issue for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, so those are the different types of pay structures, right? So models who get jobs that are with these big companies because they impact your usage rights. This is something Fatima was mentioning earlier, your usage rights. That means if they are going to use that content, photo or video of you like over and over and over again, like television campaigns, they're running that ad over and over again. It's going to be all over the place. Then there's going to be a $5,000 to $25,000 payment opportunity for those jobs. Imagine getting hired for a Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah.
Like Super Bowl, everybody sees it. They pay a lot of money just to run it one time sometimes, and then you get paid every time that they run it. That's what you want. You want those residual checks.
Right.
So that's pay structure. We talked about different types of agencies. We've talked about the contracts, and we talked a little bit about posing as well as a commercial model.
So it's totally okay to reapply, but just within that 3 to 6 month window.
3 to 6 months, and this is the same time frame to update digitals and headshots.
I think your digitals, because we change a lot, especially women change a lot. We go through a lot of cycles and all this. So I think every 2 to 3 months, your digital should be updated.
Yeah.
Every 2 to 3 months. Yeah.
You sound a little hesitant.
Because some people, 2 to 3 months, that's so often. It is often, but it's very important because if you look like what you look like now, and then 3 months later, 4 months later, you apply to an agency with the digitals you took 4 months ago, and then they're like, okay, we want a Zoom or in-person interview with you. And then you show up to the interview and you don't look like what you have in your digitals, it's going to be an issue, or what if they remeasure you and your measurements aren't the same, so definitely keeping up with that upkeep, the digitals and the measurements as often as possible.
But don't let your digitals being different or your headshots not being updated prevent you from making the attempt in the first place. Like just go and get them done. Redo them. You can do them on your phone. You can hire a photographer. Fatima and I are available to photograph digitals, and we can take care of those things for you if you need them. You can completely do them on your own if you know your good camera settings with your iPhone and understand lighting a bit. It's not that challenging, but don't let things like that prevent you from making the attempt in the first place.
Right.
So, all right. So back to the main subject here. Target, Old Navy, Banana Republic, Gap, places like this, high desire level for models to want to be photographed and be in those types of campaigns. So you have to be with a certain type of agency to even receive opportunities like that.
Well, I mean, you could do it freelance, but it takes a little bit more work and a lot more work, and you need the following or the influence in order to get your foot in the door. Otherwise, big companies are not even going to look in your direction.
And then you also need to understand contracts.
And you need to understand contracts as an individual. All that legal jargon, is that what they call it? Jargon. All that legal jargon, you have to understand it because you're on your own if you're not signed.
You don't want to make an $8,000 mistake.
Right. Right.
Really. And so talent agency would probably be the way to go.
I'd say talent agency, yeah,
Mhm.
if you're looking for these commercial campaigns.
And a lot of these companies, they won't even work with you if you are not signed.
Yeah. Mhm.
So there is possibility that you can negotiate yourself, that you can be a freelance, and maybe you have X amount of social media following, maybe you have X amount of years of experience, and your portfolio is amazing, and they roll the dice on you, so to speak. You know, you're able to just work your way in there on your own. But a lot of them, they won't entertain that conversation because you don't have the legal backing of an agency, which is why agencies exist in the first place, because they want to make sure you're going to show up and be professional and that you already know a little bit like what you're doing when you get there. They don't want to have to coach you on set.
Right.
They want someone who is credible, and having an agency is going to give you that extra backing to be there. So the agency's job is to find you jobs. When a company like Target or Walmart or Gap, whoever, they need a model, they reach out to agencies first, maybe a casting director, because if you are not signed and you're with a casting director casting website, then that same job can be available and they'll send it out and let you guys submit on your own, like Backstage or auracasting.com. Maybe you'll see it on them. But you have to submit for the job, apply for it. Hopefully your agency is the one who's sending it to you. Once you receive that casting, you are still in a submission process.
Right.
Just because they sent you a casting saying, hey, Target is looking for models that look like you, it doesn't mean you have the job yet.
Right.
So you, even after you get signed, you're still submitting and waiting to hear back. So you've let's talk about the submission process a little bit. When you receive jobs or casting opportunities, even when it's for a big company, household name companies, everybody knows the name of this existing entity, right? They still want, what are the things that they're requesting you to do?
I mean, anything and everything from drinking soda from a can to pretending I'm dancing near an ice cream truck. Like they were the craziest things. And most of it has to maybe do with the commercial, but part of it is like, can this person follow direction within the casting before we even book her or him? They just want to know. They'll send you random stuff. They'll send you the casting and be like, okay, state your name and your location. We're going to ask you this question about your personality. Then we're like, okay, we want you to do a video. We want you to like turn around in a circle 3 times to the left and shoot this in horizontal. Like you just do it and you send it. Like,
yeah, so it could feel a little awkward when you're just at home with your light and your cell phone and you're just like talking to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe it's because when you're on set for the project, you're going to be doing something similar, if not that exact same thing.
Yeah.
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 So what happens is, so company X contacts agency. Agency then contacts the available models who fit the description that the company is looking for.
Right. And that's also a misconception. Models feel like the agency is the one booking them, but it's the client booking them.
Oh yeah. So you get this casting, you read the email. Okay, I gotta film like a self-tape, a slate.
Slate, that's what they call it. Yeah, slate.
Of video of you doing whatever it is that they asked you to do on camera. And this is so that they can make an assessment of your skills and your abilities. And then from there, you submit it directly to the agency or directly to the company?
It depends on how your agency sends you the casting. I have a casting site that my agency works through. They'll send me stuff on the site and I'll submit straight to the site, which is sort of kind of directly to the client themselves. And then sometimes I'll get castings where I have to send my information to my agent and then they'll submit it on my behalf.
Okay. So either way, you're recording this video at home and you're submitting it. Sometimes it's due the same day.
Oh, yeah, a lot of times it's do the same
Last
thing.
minute submissions.
Yeah,
Maybe it's due, maybe you get a couple of days, you got some grace in there, and you submit it. Then you wait to hear back if you receive that opportunity or not. So that's the process. It sounds like a lot of steps. That's
and it's surprising, there's even more steps after that, because it's like you're waiting, you submitted, your agency sent you this job, you submitted to it, now you're waiting, waiting. And the job is like, hey, we liked your audition, we really, really like you, we're gonna put you on hold. And now you're on hold and you're waiting still. They're like, are you available for these days? And you're like, yes, I'm available. And they're like, cool. Loved your audition. Thank you for being available. Well, we decided to go with somebody else. Like that happens too.
dang, they
Because
got the violin.
there's just so many, there's so many, if we're being honest, like there's so many people that look like me, and they're all getting sent the same job, and they're all doing the same tasks on their audition. And so the littlest thing can throw your audition. The littlest thing, maybe they don't like, you know, the way you moved your hands in that video, and they like the way she moved her hands better, so they're going to go with her. The littlest things. So yeah, definitely you could submit and you do all this waiting, and then they'll be like, we loved your audition, like we would really, really like you on set, but we decided to go with this person instead.
Yeah, and that's it's partially too because they already have a vision for what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So they may need in this campaign, they're gonna need, 3 white girls, 1 black girl, 2 Asians, and an Indian girl. And once they fill that role, they're not looking for any more people in that space.
Right.
So maybe it's not that you did anything wrong, they already filled the
Yeah,
role.
no, it's never personal.
Right.
It's never personal.
And so this is the process. These are the type of agencies that you need to be with. This is the type of contracts that you need to understand. This is the submission and casting process. This is how much you get paid to do those things. And it all generally starts with having an agency in the first place. You will never get these opportunities. I would say never. I'm gonna go with never. I'm gonna go with never. You will not get these opportunities if you don't have an agency to back you up. They're not available. Like you can go on Backstage, you can go on casting networks, and if you see McDonald's on there, you better grab it as fast as you can. But just know there's probably 1,000 people that submitted the same thing.
And you better follow that audition to a T. Yeah. It's competitive for sure.
So a bonus tip here, a bonus tip, because you're like, well, I'm not with the agency yet. I'm still trying to figure this out. I'm new to modeling. And if you're new to modeling, you're probably not going to go straight to Target campaign anyways. Like that,
you can go straight to an agency.
You could.
Yeah.
But the expectation shouldn't be, I signed, now therefore I'm getting paid $20,000 in this TV ad commercial. Right. I have no experience.
You gotta work your way up.
You gotta work your way up in there. So there's people who are going to come at the top of that list based on familiarity and experience.
Right.
But how can you build that up? How do you do those things before you even get signed to an agency, or even if you are signed and you want to get the opportunities like that? What's going to be helpful is if you have images in your portfolio that look like what those campaigns are wanting to photograph in the first place. A lot of you are taking pictures, posting them on social media, and they're colorful, they're creative, they're sexy, they're dramatic. They're nothing like what Target wants. Why are you doing that? Because you're not doing it for the likes, or you're not doing it for your followers, your friends and family to hype you up. If you want to be a model and you're serious about it, you're building a portfolio, especially if you're a commercial model, your portfolio should look like an advertisement. You will never be in a Target ad, a Gap, an Old Navy advertisement, and your portfolio looks like you're a video vixen. It's just not going to happen. They don't want that. They want plain, natural. They want natural hair. They want natural nails. Think about it. When you go in, every time you go to Target, do you see anybody with long 6-inch fingernails, dramatic, colorful makeup, Like they barely even have models in lingerie.
Not unless they're like a celebrity. Glorilla maybe on a Target ad. No, I don't even
Really?
think no.
I would be surprised to see
I
that.
don't even think they do that. So yeah,
Walmart
no,
might do
definitely
it.
not. Walmart might do it. Real talk, but no, definitely not. Mm-mm.
So you should be building your portfolio to match the aesthetic of the
Mhm.
jobs that you want to receive.
Mhm.
Who are you really modeling for? You gotta decide this is a hobby or if this is a career. And you can't have, you can't dibble and dabble, you can't do both. And it's very serious. There's people out there that want those jobs just as bad as you do, if not more. And they're doing everything that they need to do to make sure that they're in position to
Mhm.
receive the opportunity when it arises. I heard you watching some videos earlier,
Yeah.
and a model was giving advice about your social media and how clean it should be.
Yeah, and that actually the person speaking in the video was an agent for an agency
Hmm.
in Tennessee. And the agency is called Ophelia, but she's an actual agent for the agency, and she was giving tips about why they reject models. And one of the biggest ones was social media. Like a lot of us feel like agencies aren't going to take the time to look through our social media profiles. No, they will, and they do, and they do it very often because they want to make sure that who they're going to sign is what they represent. And if you're somebody who likes drinking and partying and like Christopher said, video vixen and lingerie, that's totally fine. But if that's what the agency does not want on their roster, they will reject you for it.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So it's decision making time.
Mhm.
What type of model do you want to be? And it's not an easy decision to make. I mean, there's
So many
different types of
things, yeah.
modeling, and there's like you said, fit modeling. Some of you may not even know that was a thing. Runway, commercial, like beauty. You could be a parts model,
Mhm.
and it's literally just your hands in the advertisement.
Some people like the easy route, and I don't blame them. Yeah, let me just take a picture of these nails real quick. $500, thank you.
Hey,
And on to the next job. And that's fine. Some people are settled within that. And then other people are like, no, I want the fame, I want the attention, I want the glitz and the glamour. I'm gonna go runway, I'm gonna go editorial, and that is fine too. And then, some women, some men are like, I want to be sexy, I want to be in lingerie, I want Victoria's Secret, my life away. So that's what it is. But those niches are very niched already, like there's no bouncing, hopping one from the other this way, that way.
mhm. And I've heard you mention as well before that you have to be careful sometimes when you're experimenting with these different lanes because you can get labeled as that,
Yeah.
and it's hard to go back from it.
Yeah, I know a few models who have embraced their selves in this lingerie boudoir and they love it and it's so thrilling and empowering and that's amazing, especially for women. But now they're like, I want to do commercial modeling. Okay, well, almost all of your photos are boudoir, and you're not going to get booked for a commercial with boudoir photos on your Instagram out there in the internet because these commercials are being shown to children, they're being shown to everyday people, average people who are going to look up your name, who are going to see your connections, and they're going to see those photos. And it's just a bad look, not only for you as the model, but for the brand as well. And people are going to start questioning, why did Target put this lady in this school commercial with these children and she has boudoir photos on her Instagram? That's so inappropriate, and people are going to start questioning the brand for that, and they don't even want to mess with that. So definitely, if you are thinking of doing commercial lifestyle, you have boudoir or mature photos on your page, understand that that is a conflict of interest. You need to pick a side.
Is there this is like spitballing right now. Is there a different category of boudoir that is like commercial boudoir? Because like those like the models sometimes they just wear like slips,
Or like underwear,
like just
Victoria's
regular
Secret.
underwear. They're not
Yeah.
like they're in a bedroom setting.
Yeah, no, because you see the models on like the Heinz underwear all the time.
Yeah.
And that's not meant to be sexy though.
Yeah.
That's not meant to be sexy. I mean, you're in boxer briefs and a t-shirt. It's not meant to be alluring or sexy in any way. That's definitely commercial. I think we had a question from a model who was like, is there a commercial sexy or is there a commercial boudoir? And no, they don't go hand in hand. It's not the same thing.
Mm.
You can't be commercial sexy. I guess unless you're doing perfume commercial or Calvin Klein, maybe.
Because I'm thinking about Victoria's Secret, and I'm thinking about Savage Fenty.
But think about those ones, they're not very commercial-esque, are
'Cause
they?
they are creative. That's
They're like fashion, I
it
feel
is like
like.
fashion. It is kind of editorial. Because
But
like
then,
if you look, if you follow Fenty Savage on their page, like their shoots are pretty elaborate.
mhm.
Like they are, I mean, sometimes they do like cell phone stuff, they're just showing the piece or whatever, but some of their photo shoots, they're like a huge silk bed and there's like flames going around. It's like interesting, it's colorful and it's sexy, but obviously it's for that brand. So
Mhm.
it could be brand specific, but I wouldn't categorize it as commercial though.
Mm.
I feel like it's a little in between.
A little gray area
Because
there.
I think they have their advertisement type of content where it is creative, it's editorial, it's this and that. But then I haven't been on their website, you know, I don't shop for lingerie, right? But correct me if I'm wrong, they may have models on their website that are e-commerce style where they're just sitting there, you know, front back, just to see what the outfit looks like.
True, yeah.
I'll have to go on their website and go on Victoria's Secret website to even see that.
But again, if they're just selling on their website, I don't think they're trying to sell sex.
Right, it's not it,
I mean, now they're not trying to sell
yeah.
sex.
Yeah.
The verbiage.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like e-commerce is not meant to sell adults concepts.
right, right.
If
Got
that makes sexy is a feeling, right? They want you to feel sexy in their clothing, but are they trying to say, hey, look at this woman because she's selling sex per se? I don't think so.
right. Yeah, it's not as suggestive.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
okay.
Because
So
I mean, you remember those throwback Burger King commercials with
we're
like
like,
the women were like half naked on a
yeah,
truck
eating a
and they're eating a
burger,
burger
yeah.
and it was like so sexy. But that is commercial, but the women were sexy. So I don't know, sometimes there's a gray area.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We're a little off track now. Um, let's
Yeah, but
see.
they definitely they had a different audience.
What is a slate and how do you do that? So the slate is the video that you create for your casting when you're receiving a job opportunity from your agency.
Yeah. It's basically the slate and the audition are two separate things. The slate is you just stating your name, your age, your location, excuse me, and any other question they're going to ask you that they want to know from you. So, or sometimes they're like, can we see your hands front and back? And you're just showing this. It like takes a few steps back from the camera, see full body. That is a slate. And then you'll submit that typically separate from your actual audition video.
Got it. Hopefully that answers your question there. And so as we bring this to an end, we are, what's today? The 10th, or we're about 30 days away from Mall Society 2025. Classes are getting started here. January 11th, first day of class. And if all this information you find is valuable, if you want to learn more, if you want to grow with the community, you want to come to our in-person or online classes. We'll have both next year. We're going to do them, some of them simultaneously, some of them separately. I'm actually getting ready to share the full itinerary on social media pretty soon. But if you're interested in learning more, you want to start your modeling career, you're tired of waiting around, tired of holding yourself back, definitely reach out to us or visit our website. We'll put the link somewhere down in the bio of this video. or just send us a message on Instagram. Ask some more questions and we'll get you going and at least point you in the right direction. Because model society has been growing every year. And you'll get a chance to not only learn from us directly, like videos like this will live stream if you're not within a driving distance. But you'll be able to unmute yourself, ask questions, and we have like a full agenda of classes, assignments, and ultimately that'll lead up to you graduating at ModelCon 2025.
Yay.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. That's gonna be different next year because we even have learned more than what we've known in previous years. So our knowledge has grown and expanded through our network and people that we've been associated with. And we can't wait to just give back and share that information with you guys.
With some new experts on the stage to teach new models in the room in a new city.
Yes.
So yeah, super exciting.
I had a conversation yesterday with a fashion designer who, well-known fashion designer based in Los Angeles, has models all over the country that are desiring to fly in and walk for him. Great guy. And all I'm going to say is that he makes angel wings.
He's black.
He dresses up the models with these elaborate wings and intricate designs, and it's very sexy. It's very editorial, and we're excited to welcome him. We've already kind of locked him in as not only a guest speaker, but we are a little preview here is we may add a fashion show aspect to ModelCon next year. So that alone is exciting as well. So yeah.
I'm excited.
Let's see if there's any more questions on Zoom, on Instagram. Thank you so much. I'm 58 years old and I would love to do commercial modeling. You can do it.
Anybody can model.
You can do it. You have to just update your digital, start submitting. Follow Fatima. She's doing a 30-day challenge right now. You can submit along with her. If you still have questions about specifically agencies, then definitely you can reach out to Fatima as well. She can guide you through that process. Or if you want to learn everything there is about modeling, posing, walking, facial expressions, contracts, personal confidence is really what it comes down to is confidence. How you carry yourself when you walk into your room, how are you networking with people, how are you building your portfolio that stands out to get the attention of these agencies in the first place. Then definitely reach out to us and we'll guide you through that over like 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah, 6 weeks.
8 weeks.
8 weeks.
8 weeks.
We threw some bonus. No, we threw some bonuses. Some bonus 2 weeks bonus in there. So 6 weeks of classes, 2 weeks of agency automation, and all with the goal of not only building your confidence up, expanding your knowledge, but if you desire, then let's try to help you get signed so you can get these jobs like working for Target and so on. If that's what you want. Not everybody wants that.
Not everybody wants it, and that's okay.
All right, y'all. So I'll see you other questions. I will talk to you guys next week or on Instagram. Shoot me a message and I'll see you soon. You can say bye.
Bye.